Hello beautiful people and welcome to my channel. My name's Summer. I never had any intention of starting a YouTube channel, but the confirmations got a little hard to ignore. I was led to find a creative outlet to share my story that also needed to include my voice. That did not mean that I had to show my face, but you see that has changed. My journey has been unexpected and uncomfortable and life-changing and eye-opening and everything in between. And I know I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one going through so much right now. And not the only one that has had so much baggage from the past that they're trying to work through right now. So know that you're not alone. But I wanted to share with you what I've been working on for the past couple weeks. I do a lot of journaling and also automatic writing for channeling through my healing process, and that's what I'm going to share with you today. I went to church this morning. I should just literally end this right here because that pretty much sums it up in my own mind, or for anyone that knows me anyways. I don't go to church. I can't even remember the last time that I attended church of my own volition. Don't ask me how or why I ended up there. Yet another rabbit hole. One of many that I find myself being led down recently. I've also never attended a Unitarian church. All faiths under one roof. No scriptures, no outdated hymns, just people trying to better themselves, to better humanity, to understand and love one another, seeking universal truths underlying all paths, religions, individual ideologies, and faiths. I sat there through the entire service wondering why I was there. What message was I meant to be receiving? The music wasn't my cup of tea. There were a lot of church-specific mantras to recite, which made it feel slightly cultish. The concluding ritual of joining hands in a circle to sing solidified the cult vibes. The message was interesting and not preachy, nor did it invoke any specific religion. They did primarily refer to a singular God. I guess I prefer source or creator or light, but these terms were referenced a couple times also. All inclusive. Regardless, it was held in a church building, set up like a traditional church. They took offering and prayed, had a specific sequence of events scheduled. It smelled like church. It was aggravatingly nostalgic, and not in a pleasant way. I wanted to just get up and walk out pretty early on. Maybe I should have left when being greeted and sensing their desperation for newer, younger members. I also recognize that there are lessons and messages to be found in all endeavors and all encounters. This is obviously not my first questionable rabbit hole. I had been led there, so instead of walking out, I chose to become very present, disassociatingly present, allowing all of my past history with the church and religion to be just that. Everything except who was speaking kind of faded away, in a deep meditative type of state that I wasn't even attempting to achieve. There weren't any epiphanies, no aha moments, no deep, soul-inspiring messages that emerged. I was, however, reminded that I seemed to be frequently led into nostalgic places, sometimes with nostalgic encounters. These people, places, memories that I've fought so hard to run away from and forget. They're even showing up in my dreams, haunting me. They've always been painful, panic-inducing, disassociation invoking to the max. and I keep being led headfirst into their forbidden territory, these areas of my life that I closed off and condemned, glaring caution tape surrounding them. That's how I've dealt with my past. That's how I was taught to deal with things, emotions, anything portraying the family as less than keeping up with the Joneses, just swept under the rug. I was taught to hide and ignore so that no one else would see. Straighten the rug, put on your mask, and pretend we're perfect. These past couple months have been a crash course in true trauma healing for me. Blatantly throwing the rug aside, stirring up all the debris, the lies, the pain, the truth, exposing the skeletons in my closets, uncovering the cowering inner child, beaten and locked away in the basement, defeated, getting up close and personal with my emotions, forcing me to sit with my inner self and thoughts. It hasn't been easy or pretty. It's been excruciating and gruesome and revealing. It has also been eye-awakening and liberating. And so today, I think, was just another rendezvous with my past. And I lived through it. Another traumatic part of my life that I am now able to face, without the fear, without the panic. And as much as these unwelcome meet and greets with my past have made me face my inner demons, they've empowered me in unveiling how far I've come in my healing journey. Just a few short months ago, there was no way you'd find me in a church or in my hometown, in parks where I grew up playing, confidently saying hi and engaging in conversations with people that I haven't seen since high school. People and places that I've purposefully attempted to remain hidden from since the day I turned 18. The demons, literal and figurative. The pain, the fear, the panic attacks, severe trauma responses, all ingrained within me since childhood. I'm now realizing they've always been my safety mechanisms. The longer I've held on to these wounds, my autopilot responses, beliefs, the longer the rug remains straightened, skeletons safely out of sight, basement securely padlocked, the longer I've sabotaged myself. I was doing it to myself, boxing myself in, limiting myself with the same tools and techniques that I've learned beginning shortly after birth. When one only has the capacity of adapting to and harnessing their trauma through the faculties of a tiny human, life remains a perpetual haunted house. Today was just another confronting of the old me. The ability to tour behind the scenes, partially illuminated, reaffirming my aversion, but empowering me in my progress, in my new identity, because I made it through the door. I was introduced to therapy in 3rd grade. I just turned 40. In all those years in between, I've never encountered any behavioral health practitioner that was capable or skilled enough to even touch the surface of what true healing is. Grounding and breathing techniques. Being told that I have an avalanche of traumatic situations bombarding me on a consistent basis, preventing any type of healing work. Essentially reteaching an adult me ways of readjusting the rug to fit nicely over the continuously growing layers of dirt beneath. Meds were pushed to the point of exhaustion. Every therapist, doctor, psychiatrist resulted in, "I don't think we're getting anywhere. I don't think I can help you. We've exhausted all possible options. I'm going to refer you to someone else." Repeated rejections, dismissals. As if life wasn't hard enough. I was a failure at my repeated brutal attempts of accessing help from any mental health practitioner. Anyways, how I was in therapy at such a young age and no one could see the amount of trauma that I'd already endured up to that point is beyond me. Although I don't blame the therapist. It was the 80s. It was a therapist working within the public school system. And I only remember going to see her one time. My suicidal ideation started the year after. That one time may have been enough to remind my mother of the image that she aspired to portray to the world. That image most definitely did not include a child that needed therapy. Or possibly it was what could potentially be revealed. We, as in the family, also surprisingly didn't believe in mental health problems. It's a wonder I ever saw the school therapist at all, or even went to medical professionals, for that matter. A good friend of the family had died of cancer, and I was told it was his own fault because he didn't have enough faith for God to heal him. It's amazing I've survived this long without any faith at all. A woman that I spoke with after the church service said that everyone in that congregation was recovering from religious trauma. When did religion become traumatic? Screw the idea of extraterrestrials keeping us in a constant state of fear and enslavement. Let's take a closer look at our quote-unquote caretakers and church leaders and public institutions illusioning the masses. The Democrats and Republicans aren't who we should be focused on and outing. What about the real day-to-day horrors that people, children, are exposed to on a daily basis? But that's just swept under the rug. There are bigger issues to worry about, right? An epidemic of generations of people trying to heal from childhood and religious trauma and systemic failure seems like a big picture stuff to me. How are we as adults supposed to make educated and informed decisions about the state of our country? Decide the fate of other countries when no one is acknowledging or assisting us in how to live or be productive, function healthily in our day-to-day lives? We're purposefully distracted and told what is important. Our healing and best interests, collectively or individually, clearly are not it. Religion, fear and judgment-based, the power-hungry patriarchy, threatening an everlasting hell, eternal damnation, while inflicting fear and pain, forcing us to carry that with us throughout our lives. A sentencing of rejection from a quote-unquote all-loving, all-perfect God and Creator. Fire and brimstone, breeding hate, fear, violence, wars, death. We're taught to fear the unknown, anything and anyone different from us. Taught to be wary, mistrusting, by our own caregivers, church leaders, the media, fear manifesting outwardly as hate towards humanity. Taught as children to fear, and taught as adults to hate. All the while, we're still just scared little traumatized children attempting to cope with or just disassociate from our past to protect ourselves from the future, the unknown. I've secluded myself, barricaded myself in, pushed people away, attempted to become invisible, yet still craving connection. Mistrust, fear, abandonment. I don't trust myself. Never allowing myself to even consider my highest potential. Resigning myself to nothing more than what life has already continually presented me with. Afraid of the disappointment of discovering that I'm nothing more than who I was told I was. Hateful, delusional, ungrateful, lacking any emotional capability, the cause of my parents' impending divorce, bitch, inconsiderate, fucking my children up for life. You'll never have any friends. Whore, damned, selfish, irresponsible, adulterer, liar, manipulative. This list isn't all-inclusive. I began reminiscing about all the people and experiences that compounded my abandonment trauma, questioning how to move forward. How do I even begin to trust myself or trust others? The message that I received was self-compassion and self-forgiveness. For all the years of holding on to these fabricated self-images bestowed upon me. Yeah, but how do I do that when this is all I've ever known, ever received? When all these people, even God, the God I was taught would answer prayers and assist me in my time of need, remained unseen and silent as I was curled up in a fetal position crying out for someone to rescue me. I again began mentally replaying those memories in my head, feeling it in my heart. A familiar film. And almost immediately I was told to stop. That I could be present and reflect on all the ways in which those things were currently affecting my life, but I was no longer allowed to be pulled back into the memories and emotions and relive the past that led me here. I could dissect the present ramifications to problem solve in a healthy way, to remedy my trauma responses, to dwell on how to move forward, how to separate myself from the victim mindset. Those things happened. They suck. They hurt. A lot. In every possible way. Slowly fostering death. But in this present moment, they aren't occurring. There's nothing I can do to change it. I do have the power and control to acknowledge that the pain and emotions are there and that they are valid. I do have the power and control to decide what I want now, for the present and for the future. I have the power to acknowledge and assess without being consumed by them and continue a cycle of self-sabotaging thinking. I can address the ways in which my trauma is enslaving me and preventing forward momentum. No one else is currently doing this to me. So how do I navigate to what I want, what I deserve? And what does that even look like after a lifetime of being bound to my trauma? and how to proceed in a healthy way by changing my mindset, changing the way that I view myself, my self-worth, change the bare minimum baseline that I've always settled for in the past to a baseline of what I can have, of what I deserve, what I can achieve. I thought I have to change my view, my perspective. It was immediately corrected and told that I get to, that I've been given an opportunity to change my perspective, my baseline, my idea of self-worth, of what I deserve, of what I can achieve, my worldview. This journey has also taught me a great deal about the power of gratefulness and humility. And I can do that. I alone. I've been graced with this opportunity to begin to overcome my fear of the unknown, the fear that I may encounter similar people or circumstances, fear that I may end up in the same destructive mindset when something does happen, with the understanding that I'm not the same person I was just a mere few months ago, that I'm healthier and stronger and better equipped to deal with what life hands me. I can overcome and not allow setbacks to be life-stopping, life-changing, or send me back into victim mode. At least not for too long. I can choose to stop rekindling the embers. It'll all be okay, even when it isn't. I love you guys. Have a great day.